again, everyone. Eric Thurber here from Thurber Shots, and today I'm going to highlight 6 detailed locations where you can launch your drone from, and I'll give some tips and tricks for this as well along the way. All of this is going to be from legal locations, and we'll talk about what's involved with that, how to deal with the public. Before we go into this, I'm going to address these 2 points, right? How to deal with the public. First of all, my approach is always just be, open and communicative with the public. When they come up and ask what's going on, I'm happy to show them, tell them what my Instagram account is. Hey, take a look at what I do, and this is what I'm filming. If you're in people's neighborhoods and stuff like that, they're going to be nervous about drones hovering around. So my take on it is just be transparent with them and try to work with them. And the other thing I do is I wear a vest. So I know people have laughed at me about this, but I can tell you this, after countless hours of flying in San Francisco, the only time I've ever approached by public for questioning whether I'm flying legally or not is when I'm not wearing a vest or I'm trying to be secretive about it. So my approach is simply put the vest on, get out there and own it and look like you belong there. It's a whole different dynamic. People think you belong there. People will come up and talk to you friendly like, and that's my approach. That's my 2 cents. If again, I've mentioned this in other videos, if you're approached by authorities, just comply. If it's the police, a lot of the time you're going to know more about what's going on than they do. But don't be a dick about it, right? Just say, hey, here's what I see as being legal and here's why. And most of the time, I found that SFPD has been just generally helpful in every way if you just tell them what you're doing. So I have an excellent relationship with them, and they will work with you under the right circumstances. Get your permits, get your waivers, and they'll help you out. Okay, so that's my approach on those things. So let's get into some locations here. Okay, so this, if you want to fly down by Ocean Beach, this is a great approach to take. There's a Safeway down there at La Playa and Fulton. So let's take a look at that here. Get to that Ocean Beach. And there's parking in that Safeway. They do patrol that. They have like police, those things with the lights and cameras on them where the police are looking down on you and they'll shout at you from their speakers saying, you can't be here or whatever. So keep that in mind, but you can park anywhere here, on Fulton or a block here or a block over here. And then you can then fly over Ocean Beach. Keep in mind the Great Highway that you see here, which is now closed, but this section is all GGNRA, Golden Gate National Recreational Area. You legally cannot fly taking off in here. So, but if you take off from over here and then you zip over it, well, that's a different story. As I mentioned before, that's kind of a gray area, but technically you're in the sky and you are under the auspices of the FAA when you are in the sky. There's nothing they can do on the ground and in the park. As mentioned before, GGNRA has very specific verbiage about this, saying, you cannot take off or land from our parks. You cannot fly from our parks. This goes for all the national parks, right? So stay outside of the park when you launch, and then, you don't even have to go over this area. You could just zip around it and get this great footage all from here, all nice and legal. Okay? So that's the Safeway, and that's Ocean Beach. So let's move on to Spencer East Park. So this is for these views of the Golden Gate Bridge. There's not a lot of legal areas you can fly, as you probably know, for the Golden Gate Bridge, right? So let's take a look at this Spencer Park and Ride. It's a little parking lot here. And the beautiful thing about this is it's up at a good altitude. So you can legally fly, remember, AGL above the ground that you stand on. You can legally fly 400 feet. And you're already up pretty high, right? So if you take your drone off from this little park right here, park and ride, which by the way is legal. You can check it on your maps. Again, if there's no TFR in place, all of these spots are legal. So you can take your drone up here and you can get pretty good flight. You know, traverse carefully, don't hang over traffic and stuff, but you can traverse over here and you can get up pretty high and look at this view of the bridge you get from up here. Not only that, you get all this awesome Sausalito over here if you want, right? Sausalito is generally legal to fly from. Again, we want to be really mindful of the quiet neighborhoods these people have, and drones buzzing above them is not, you know, a lot of people don't like that, and we want to be understanding to that. So my motto there is just keep it moving, so you're not just hovering over any one house for any amount of time. But this is a great little spot to launch from. Okay. Okay, the Embarcadero. So everybody that flies drones in San Francisco, this is one of the most popular spots, right? The ferry building, the city, and all of that. And let's take a look at that. So you can basically park anywhere you want along the Embarcadero. But just keep in mind, you're going to be launching from public sidewalks and all that. So that's again why I say wear the vest and all that, look like you belong. For almost all of this stuff, you're going to be flying around a bunch of people. So just be mindful of that, right? And they're going to look and they're going to freak out sometimes or whatever. So that's if you choose to go along the Embarcadero here. There's also these little tennis courts over here, and it's a great little off the beaten path place. If you park your car, you'll see a lot fewer people, and you can zip your drone around all this little area here. And then you can come out over the bay a bit, right, and then look inward toward the city. Let's see, this thing's here in my way, but you turn that way, and from over the bay here, you get these great, wonderful views of the city. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, so moving down to Pier 39, there's this parking garage here. And I've flown here several times. You have to pay to park, but trust me, man, it's worth every penny. If you can get on the roof of this thing here, you've got great access to fly unobstructed around all of this area of Pier 39. Okay. So as long as there's no events or TFRs, as I always say, going on, this is a great little spot. So you can take a look here and see here's your Ferris wheel, right? Here's Pier 39. There's the look we all get, you know, from out here looking toward the city. So this is just a great little spot. And if I have, a lot of the time I'm commissioned to go out here and fly, and every time this is where I go. I go to the top of this garage. Sometimes it's closed off. If there's not a lot, if it's not full, they'll close off the top deck. But you can park just in below a little bit. Let's take a look here. You can park right down below this and then walk up here with your drone and fly. So, great little location. All right, another really popular area is behind Red's Java House. This, you know, when there's games going on for the Giants, they charge $50 to park in this big, huge lot in here. But when there's no games on, it's pretty open. You could just zip out there in your car, easy, free parking. You can launch and get these great views of everything else in here. So let's take a look at that. So I use this spot to get a lot of footage from the East Cut. We can zip over to that way, right? So here's where a lot of your flights come from for the East Cut, because you got great unobstructed line of sight for the drone here. And you can take it up, you know, keep it at 400 feet. You can still get quite a good look at that altitude. And then you get these views of the bridge as well, right? So this is one of my favorite locations. It's a go-to. I've done it quite a few times. You'll see in my shots. Okay. And last but not least is Potrero Hill. So this is 18th and San Bruno Avenue. You guys probably see a lot of my traffic shots where I'm taking a look down this traffic flowing here with the city in the background. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So this is an okay place. It used to not be such a great neighborhood back in its day. It's been a little bit gentrified now. It's pretty okay right here. There's this crosswalk where you can walk across, you know. This is also great to take your regular SLR camera and get shots right from this little edge here of the, you know, the curved freeway with the traffic and the city behind it. It actually has some really wonderful views that way. Let's take a look in here and see why. Okay, you can see that, right? I mean, go up and look at the city there. So you got the skyline in your background, but you can park your car right here. Usually there's parking, right? And then right here in this little park is where I'll take off and land quite often. So again, be mindful of flying over traffic. If you have a waiver and a parachute, which I do, I'll do that. But the FAA is also aware that I'm doing that, right? So they know if somebody calls or whatever on me, it doesn't matter. I'm all covered. So just be aware of that. You can also, though, I don't expect everybody to go through all that to get waivers, but fly along the sides, right? If you fly along the sides and you zoom down that way a little bit, it looks like you're right over traffic when you're not. And that's kind of the goal. I like to get that look, even though I rarely really get right over the top of traffic. And either way, you get just as good of views. Okay, so those are my top 6 spots that I like to fly, and now you know where they're at. So go get some footage. All right, take care.